Three games spun rapidly under the hood of my Sega Dreamcast growing up: NFL 2K, Sonic Adventure 2, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. While it's no secret how big of a football and Sonic fan I am, some people may overlook or simply not know what kind of impact the Tony Hawk series had on me as a kid, and even to this day. The rock subgenre known as ska was my introduction into the punk rock music scene, all very prevalent in the Tony Hawk games. In fact, my most vivid memories of my childhood when it comes to gaming is belting out Goldfinger songs while tearing up through the Venice Beach map in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. As a kid, I even passed on spending my birthday money for a GameCube and opted to get a Birdhouse skate deck. In hindsight, I should have opted for the GameCube because outside of a manual and an ollie, I wasn't getting very far. Fast forward to 2020, April to be exact, we got our first glimpse at a new game coming to Stadia during the last Connect. When the cast of TSI did our live reaction to the Connect over on Eddie Player One's channel, someone said the name Wave Break and I immediately got excited and thought I heard Wave Race, another game I spent an exorbitant amount of time in as a child. However, upon further review, it was essentially a skateboarding game, but with a boat. So I was sold, if not more so because it was more like Tony Hawk and not Wave Race. But it's not exactly like Tony Hawk, and is that a bad thing? That's what we aim to find out today. I'm Brian from Club Stadia, and it's time we take a look at Stadia's newest game from Funktronic Labs known as Wavebreak, as well as Stadia's newest feature that is found in this game. Wait, what? Before we get started, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to get subscribed, turn that bell notification on so you stay up to date with new content that shows up right here on this channel. Of course, this Friday at 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time, it is time for the Stadia Initiative Podcast, episode number 6, where me, Eddie, Meg, Chase, Germani, and MM2K break down the last 2 weeks of Stadia news and stuff around Stadia because some interesting things are happening in the world of game streaming as well as cloud gaming, so definitely want to check that out. That is, again, Friday at 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And if you're interested in checking out live gameplay streams of mine, go over to twitch.tv/Club Stadia and follow the channel over there. Turn the notifications on over there because we will be streaming Wavebreak at some point this week. And there'll be plenty of other people here in the community that will be doing just the same. And stick around to the end of the video to find out when and where. And lastly, before we get into this review, I do want to thank Funktronic Labs for hooking the channel up with a review copy of this game so we can get this video out to you at its moment's notice when it comes out right now at 12 p.m. Central Daylight Time. I do apologize if you were anticipating a video at 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time, but we had to be when it came to this game's release. And we might get into a little bit as to why, but let's talk about this game and how it is for you to play right here on Google Stadia. As we kind of tipped you off right at the beginning of this video, Wavebreak pulls its biggest influences from the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series, an arcade skateboarding series that found its popularity in the early 2000s as part of the extreme sports boom that was very prevalent back then. And of course, with that in mind, I was immediately interested in this idea. However, to avoid being extremely derivative of the source material that would inspire it, it went from skateboards to what the game calls skateboats, introduced anthropomorphic animals, and an abundance of swear words and guns. Yes, guns. When you start up the game, you are introduced to the ability to jump into a campaign mode that starts with 4 levels or jump into matchmaking. Since this is a pre-release version and only myself and a limited amount of other people even have this game currently, right out the gate, I'm going to tell you I can't comment on a personal experience when it comes to the multiplayer aspect of this game. However, I can point you to one of the developer streams that took place in the last few weeks in which the team behind Wavebreak did just that, which you can find by clicking the link in the upper right. As for the campaign, it is revealed to you that there are 4 stages. Since I have not completed this game yet, I can't say everything that is unlockable, but the dev team has said that post-launch content will be decided upon depending on the popularity of the game. Once you jump into a level, you are shown a goal list, which to those that are familiar with the Tony Hawk series will see the similarities immediately. In fact, they didn't even change some of the nomenclature for some of these goals either. High and Pro score remains the same in name. Completing a collection of 5 letters that spell combo without breaking your combo is a direct carbon copy of a goal to complete in the Tony Hawk series, as is found in the secret tape. Of course, completing tricks in certain areas or completing certain tasks, such as collecting 5 letters to spell break, shows some Tony Hawk influences as well, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing. But if you're looking for complete originality in this regard, look elsewhere, because this is where some of the originality will come into play. Let's talk about the most obvious one, and that is the aesthetics and the environment in which you traverse in with your skateboat. The backdrop is that of a 1980s Miami Vice world, which this is exactly what I would imagine of skateboarding with a boat, and 1980s Miami Vice is what I was thinking of. The team truly nailed the look and feel of this era and genre style. And speaking of feel, how does this game control? Well, right off the bat, I had trouble moving my boat. Found out I need to play this like a racing game by default and hold down the R2 button to move, and to me, that just didn't work for me with this style of game. Especially when you couple this with the shooting mechanic, it can be quite difficult to accelerate and shoot at the same time. Fortunately, within the controls menu, you can turn on auto drive mode, which closely mimics the Tony Hawk control style a little more. With this, all you do is press up to get moving and press down if you want your boat to stop. Once you press up, it'll always keep moving until you do something to change that. After that, outside of the shooting mechanics, the game plays just like a Tony Hawk game would. The A button acts as your button to ollie or jump, the X button does flip tricks, the B button does grab tricks, and the Y button allows you to grind. You can even do reverse by pressing R2 once you land from a ramp to keep a combo alive, much like you can in the Tony Hawk games. The only true difference when it comes to the control aspect is when you try to do a manual, otherwise known as a bow auto or stern auto in this game. In Tony Hawk, you would press up and then down to enter a manual, and while you still have to do that in Wave Break, you also have to press Y at the end of that sequence to enter into the manual state. Again, chaining manuals after reverts or other tricks is absolutely necessary to maintaining those combos. A neat trick I'd like to share is using the aim button while trying to balance in a grind or manual. The difficulty curve on balancing is quite steep currently, so having a mechanic built in that slows down this pace, even if this is not what the developers intended, it's a good way to keep your balance. Now, when we showed off the goal list, you may have noticed goals with a question mark or being highlighted in yellow. These are hidden goals that have a small story attached to them. Fair warning that this game is rated M4 mature due to strong language and references. I won't say to exactly what, and this aspect of the game definitely is the cause for this rating. You'll have dialogue between yourself and another character, and more often than not, it'll be laced with swears, as well as the introduction of shooting fools down that have taken your product. For an M-rated game, it is rather mild in nature actually, to be honest. Coupled with the extremely cute aesthetic, it's hard to be taken real seriously. That being said, the game's humor is pretty top-notch between the dialogue found in cutscenes, the expletives that you're scared drops while messing up a combo, and the loading screens. Wave Break is not short on laughs for the player. It was quite humorous the first time the bear dropped the F word, as I literally uttered it out loud just as it was showing up on screen. Simply put, this game just gets me. So the good things about Wave Break involves its humor, its familiar controls, its unique aesthetic, and popcorn-style gamer fun. And what I mean by that is that Wave Break is a game that you can spend 10 minutes with when you have some quick downtime at work or elsewhere and carry on with what you're doing, and Stadia is lacking in games that do just that. That being said, Wave Break isn't without its faults. If I was fresh into this genre, which clearly I'm not, but hypothetically if I was, this game is simply too difficult. In fact, as someone who has beaten the Tony Hawk games countless times, I still struggle to catch up to the choice score which is required to complete some of these levels. The scoring is weighted in such a way that makes achieving these scores mildly difficult. But that's going too far without even touching on the foundation of why that's a problem. There's literally no move list, and I know the same could have been said for the original Tony Hawk game, but walkthroughs and instruction manuals existed to help in this regard. As far as I'm aware, there's nothing within Wave Break or surrounding it to show you what your special moves are to truly bring a newcomer into this genre of gaming. Obviously, some time with the game will ease that burden, but having a tutorial for newbies isn't the worst idea. Hell, I would love to know without a doubt what my special moves were without having to get lucky and hit one. Next, as far as we know and confirmed a couple days ago in the latest dev stream, there are only 4 maps within this game. That's quite a low number, and while a decent amount of time can be spent within the game on each map based on skill level, an expert at these games won't spend too much time playing in the campaign before docking their boat. The matchmaking is a good addition that obviously wasn't really around with Wave Break's spiritual predecessors, but that's assuming Wave Break gets a fan base big enough on the Stadia platform to support matchmaking that doesn't make you wait around for a while instead of just playing with bots. And getting there may be difficult because the biggest con of Wave Break has to be its price point, which sits at $30. As a big fan of this genre and someone who pre-ordered the Tony Hawk Remastered Collector's Edition, I would have a hard time putting $30 on this game knowing the full story. Mechanically and aesthetically, this game is great. It controls well, has a unique art style and backdrop that is very eye-catching, but there isn't much content at this moment, at least from a single-player standpoint, that in its current state may not be worth your $30. This aspect of the review could absolutely change if the multiplayer lobbies are constantly full, because that is where a lot of the value to dollar could be changed. So I don't want to commit to saying this is a big issue just yet due to it currently being in pre-release at the time of this review, but as someone trying to be down the middle, it may be a tough $30 to throw down, especially when 2 of the greatest games in this genre is getting a full-blown remake in about 2 months for just $10 more. And while it's not fair to compare a game from a massive studio like Activision and Vicarious Visions to an indie developer like Funktronic Labs, I can personally keep that aside, but people will rely on name value and at the end of the day, that price point. I think $20 for what the game guarantees you in content, and by that I mean the single player aspect, is a good price point, and you can achieve that if you have your $10 coupon ready from Google Stadia. $30 though, if you are in love with this genre and have great faith on there being lobbies to enter all the time, if that's even of interest to you, I'd say that price is worth it. It has released around a tricky time when interest in Destiny 2 is high again, and Elder Scrolls Online just released on the platform, so people's time may already be at a premium as it is. But perhaps MMOs aren't your thing and you love sports games like I do, then $30 may be nothing to you, and if it is, I would highly recommend this game as it brings back some much needed nostalgia during this time in our world and provide you with many unique enough aspects to keep you from getting bored. I'm hoping to revisit reviewing this game once I've had some time with the multiplayer side of things, because I feel harping on the price tag isn't entirely fair without having tried that. But these are my thoughts as they stand with the product I currently have, but because I'm more of a positive and optimistic person, I'd rather end on a high note because there's one last thing that needs to be discussed. At the beginning, I teased a new feature for Google Stadia, so something I noticed, and I can't say who else may or may not have noticed this when perusing the options menu, but something titled Broadcast Stream Share is mentioned within the settings menu as the following. Broadcast Stream Share sessions do not receive notifications of viewer subscriptions. Right off the bat, I have no idea what this is truly referencing. I can easily speculate and be entirely wrong, but the capitalization, coupled with the lack of seeing this before, leads me to believe we have a new Stadia feature incoming. So if you follow me on Twitter at Club Stadia TV, you would know this is what I was teasing for Tuesday, or well, today, when this video releases. I fully expect to hear more details on what this exact thing is. Now, it is possible that this gets removed and wasn't actually supposed to be in the options menu at the moment, but this was something that completely caught my eye and needed to be relayed. As for what I think it could be, I would hazard to guess it could be crowdplay renamed, or some way of letting someone use you to stream their game, or as some way to co-stream a game. I feel confident in my guesses in reverse order of what I just said, but I'd love to know what you guys think Stream Share actually is. In fact, I want to know what you think of Waybreak entirely. Is this a game you picked up? Let me know what you think of it so far. Or is it something holding you back from picking this game up? Let me know in the comment section down below. Plenty of my friends within the Stadia community are planning on streaming this game at some point this week, and here's a list of who is streaming when. You can find a link to all these channels in the description below. I myself may be streaming this game over on twitch.tv/Club Stadia sometime this weekend, so make sure you're following me over there and have notifications turned on. We will be possibly doing our own version of crowdplay, and anyone can jump in and play with us if you have the game. Once again, we will be doing the 6th episode of the Stadia Initiative this Friday at 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time, so be sure to tune back to this channel on Friday for our bi-weekly discussion on the world of Google Stadia. Also, I want to shout out our awesome members of this channel as well as our subs over on Twitch. Your guys' support is freaking amazing, and it goes towards making the content over here that much better. But the easiest thing you can do is like this video, subscribe to the channel, and or share this video with a friend that may have been interested in a spiritual successor to the Tony Hawk series, or someone that's just into some mind-numbing fun. Lastly, I want to thank Funktronic Labs once again for supplying the channel with an early copy of the game. And I want to thank you, the viewers, as always, and party on.